everybody. Welcome to Trio Planet, where we are discussing today The Bad Batch, episodes 1, 2, and 3 for Season 2. I'm joined with Jordan, aka Slasher.
Everybody.
And so The Bad Batch released early 2023 to, 2-episode release. Pretty good episodes, I do have to admit.
Really good.
Episode 1 was titled Spoils of War, Episode 2 was Ruins of War, and Episode 3 was The Solitary Clone. All 3 episodes were roughly around 27 minutes long, so they weren't, exceptionally long and,
They
thought-provoking.
were like the same length as Season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll start with Episode 1, and then we'll move across as chronologically, and we'll just, say our thoughts, give a general review of each episode, and then an overall of the series so far, with 3 episodes released. So, Episode 1, Spoils of War, if you want to, title card this.
Yeah.
Planning a heist on Count Dooku's homeworld of Sereno. They're actually going to his castle to retrieve war chests that he basically stole from the people of Sereno to fund his war effort. It opens with the Bad Batch on a beach, running away from crabs.
Very looking like Pirates Caribbean there.
Yeah, very Jack Sparrow entrance from the Bad Batch. We'll probably have a clip of it, them running, because it was in one of the trailers.
Yeah, show footage.
But I do have to say that I don't know if they have, but the animation does seem to have improved yet again.
Yeah, the animation's really good.
Everything seems to flow a lot more coherent.
It's still in the style of Clone Wars, but it does look a bit fresher.
It looks very, very polished. Characters, so we're reintroduced to, obviously, the Bad Batch, which is Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Echo, and Omega, or Omega, as she likes to say. They've had a little bit of a tune-up. Their armor has changed a little bit. They've got different colors on. Tech and Tech and Omega have got a closer relationship in the first episode.
Yeah, they're definitely a lot more closer than they used to be.
Tech seems to be teaching her about ships and components. And Echo... I don't want to say Echo's sort of the villain of the episode, but Echo's sort of the reason for the conflict in these first 2 episodes. Because Hunter and Echo have a discussion about Omega, and how, because they did all the stuff they did in Season 1 for Omega, they're, on the run, they've got no home, they're on the Empire's hit list, basically. They have that conversation. Omega hears it, which, not great, because she now feels like she needs to prove herself, so she's doing reckless things. And we're reintroduced to Sid and Ord Mantell on their return from their crab-filled adventure. And they're given a job, obviously the job, the heist, to go to Count Dooku's homeworld.
We also learned a lot more about Dooku.
Yeah, it sort of felt like they were trying to explain how the Separatists were able to keep the war effort up when they had less worlds.
Yeah.
But it also explained how Dooku was able to run this war effort from his homeworld, because his castle's very intricate and it's got a lot of secret passages and stuff. But the main lure of these first 2 episodes is it sort of feels like identity. That's sort of what they're trying to go for with this season, I think, is the idea of identity and consciousness. So obviously, the clones had inhibitor chips in their heads, which basically made them comply with orders. If they were told basically execute Order 66. They killed the Jedi.
Yeah.
The Bad Batch removed them in Season 1. So they removed the inhibitor chips. They no longer comply with orders from the Empire or anyone. And they're sort of going around. They're trying to obviously keep an income stream going. And they've basically become pirates, is what they've sort of become. So they're given the information about Sereno. They go and they make probably the stupidest decision that they could make, where they decide they don't want to use lethal measures to deal with guards because they don't want to hurt
we
clones.
Talking through all this episode, and we were like, why are the guns on stun?
Like they're getting shot at, and they're in like the middle of combat, and like later in like the episode, Wrecker just grabs a tank cannon and just starts blasting. So it didn't really make sense
when he's grabbing that, which will kill them, but yet all other people are using stun.
But we've got to be careful, obviously, because Wrecker had a wire there, and we know that wires don't exist in Star Wars.
Wow, you couldn't resist, could you?
No, I could not. So they locate the war chests, and they are just full of like wealth. Like we're talking gems, credits, valuable metals, all that stuff in the war chest. Easy money for the Bad Batch. Until the commander, who for some reason, the commanders seem to be a lot more intelligent in this show than the other shows
they definitely do.
In Star Wars. Because the commander notices that something's up and immediately locks down the ships, and half of the Bad Batch get locked inside. And they have to figure out a way out. So they've located the chest, they're trying to escape, they're going towards the escape pods, and the commander, again, makes a very smart decision and tells them to eject the escape pods. So now they can't get out the way they intended to, so they've got to figure out another way. And Omega, of all people, who has been studying, obviously, the manuals, has found that the cargo pods themselves have thrusters on them, so that they can use those as an escape pod that they can't, program a location into to drop to. So they go back into where they were, and we basically nearly get a repeat of a scene from Andor where a poor guy gets his back broken by a row of credits. Yeah. And Tech gets his leg broken. Very painful. And they're basically stuck inside of a crate hanging off a cliff. Meanwhile, Hunter and Wrecker are, battling for their lives inside of Dooku's palace. They find a nice little drop pod, little lift, and Wrecker decides the smartest decision is to jump on it. And they fall God knows how far. That is basically episode 1.
Episode 1, because the first 2 episodes are a 2-parter. Yeah, I liked this episode.
I thought it was very good. I thought it was a good reintroduction and a good plot for the start of a season.
Yeah, obviously we had to get introduced to these characters again because we haven't seen them for a while. They obviously kept on everything. The armor that they wear looks decent now. It's obviously their own now because they're not looking like they did during Clone Wars anymore. Same armor, just different color, and it's very vibrant, which kind of makes them look like a very easy target. Just gotta say. And obviously, me and Will again, watching both of those the day they came out. Will, still trying to figure out how fucking Echo puts his helmet on.
It's a logistical nightmare.
I'll show you guys a clip when we get to episode 2. I'll show you a clip which was how I showed him he puts it on, and that's how we discussed it when we get to episode 2. But yeah, I think this episode's really good. I think Omega is definitely now more of her own person.
She's growing
she's
on me.
growing. She's growing now. She, like, me and Will call them the dad batch.
That's what they are.
They're basically like Omega's dads, or their own,
like guys being dudes,
or they're basically her like older brothers. And yeah, I think each member of the team have their own role to play. I don't think any member is pushed back or, you know, to the sidelines or whatever. Each member has their own moment, as you can say, in each and every episode.
So out of 10, what would you rate
episode 1? I would give it possibly a 7. No, 8. 8.
8. I think I'm gonna go with a 7. I think it's not the greatest, but it's not mediocre either. It's a good introduction.
So when you think about it,
there
are like episode 1 of any show, even in every season, it's gonna have its little flaws and stuff. But like, other than that, I think as this season goes on, it's gonna get back into, instead of them doing random jobs, it's gonna get back into them fighting for their lives against the Empire, and maybe meeting Crosshair and other people. We do know that Rex will probably be in this season, so can't wait to see him again.
Well, speaking of fighting for their lives, Jordan, that brings us right on to episode 2, Ruins of War, title card, where the Bad Batch are now discovered, and they have to make their plan to escape from Sereno without being murdered by the clones and stormtroopers that are on the planet. We get a nice look at Sereno and what has become of it after Dooku's death. The place has been bombarded. Like, it is fully destroyed. That Hunter and Wrecker are together for the entire episode, and Tech, Echo, and Omega
so they are
together.
breaking up the team a little.
The 3 that are on their own inside the crate get out and meet an old man whose name I can't remember, but he is a civilian of Sereno who is clearly somewhat bitter towards Dooku and the Empire. He takes them to their house. Tech fixes a music box for him, and Omega gets a gift, which is like an optical illusion with jewels inside that she can rotate, and it looks quite cool. All the while, Echo is sort of like giving Omega, like, just sit
he's
there
giving
and
her
watch.
I don't know if he's trying to protect her or he's like worried or something, or he just blames her for their misfortunes.
But Echo goes to do a perimeter sweep, and when he comes back, Omega's gone, and a tow cable is missing. So they have to obviously run off, and Echo's run off to go and find Omega, and Tech's going as well, but Tech's limping, so he's far, far behind. Echo gets there, troopers show up at the same time, so a battle ensues, the line gets severed, and Omega and Echo are trapped inside the container, which is falling slowly off a cliff. Tech manages to take out the troopers who have set up a mini rotary machine gun. And the old man has wandered up, who's warmed up to Tech, because he was like giving cold shoulder at the start, and he helps him. Throughout all of this, Hunter and Wrecker have fought their way through the troopers, Wrecker's got his tank
The old man
cannon
is
now.
called Roma Adele.
Romar Adele. There we go. We now know his
However you
name.
say it.
He's a
He's
somewhat
played
forgettable
by
character.
Hector Elizondo. However you say that name.
So they fight. Hunter, Wrecker get to the Marauder, which is the Bad Batch's ship, and they fly in and save the Batch from being killed by a gunship, and they escape. Well done, Bad Batch. You escaped. They didn't get any of the war chests. No. That sort of fell off the cliff. This is the episode where
we also Cody's in this as well.
Not in this one.
Yeah,
is he?
I'm looking at the episode now. He's right at the end with the Admiral. I think that's him. I think that's. So no, is that him?
Cody the...
I can't tell if that's him or someone else.
I didn't think it were him.
Actually, no. I'm looking at his scar. It's not him. I thought it were him because he's got like similar armor.
Yeah, it's a random clone. That also brings up another good point. At the end of the episode, the same Admiral from season 1, who ordered the Bad Batch's death, appears and tells the clone commander to falsify a report so that he doesn't look bad for the Bad Batch surviving. Yeah. That's why I was confused. And he gets shot by the Admiral because he refuses to falsify a report, which is our first instance of a clone refusing an order who still has their inhibitor chip in.
Let's talk about the scene that we, thingied from. The scene where Echo leaves and puts. I will play the specific clip of Echo leaving on screen of how he puts his helmet on. Will, what is your problem with Echo putting his helmet on?
Right. So Echo has the little thing on the back of his head, the little computer thing on the back of his head, which is fine when if he had a helmet that actually didn't have a cutout in it for that, but his helmet has a cutout in the back so that he can put his helmet on, and the helmet looks too small for him to fit his head and the thing in at the same time. I've
actually just googled it. Right, it says here the helmet seems to have a hydraulic system on the lower back that locks into place underneath the cybernetic implant. Once secured on Echo's head, with the lower back extended, Echo can fit his helmet over his implant without worry. It's a hydraulic.
It just looks weird because every time he puts it on, it doesn't look like anything's moving.
I see that instance, the bottom does push out a little. It seems to push out just a little, on itself while he puts it on. So, but yeah, this entire episode was very well done. The whole relationship between Echo and the relationship between Omega and Echo does seem that he's. Does it seem like he's protective, or does it seem like he's just blaming her?
At the end, they have a little chat on the Marauder, and he says he doesn't believe that they're where he wanted them to be. But if he had to go back and redo everything, he'd do it exactly the same way. They have their little heart-to-heart.
So he doesn't regret saving her in that, but he's just not where he thought he would be. Yeah, because Echo obviously joined the Bad Batch after everything that happened to him. He no longer felt like he was a normal clone. And he had his inhibitor chip out anyway because did he get damaged because of everything that happened to him, or was it something else? Yeah, it was damaged. So he didn't obey Order 66 because his inhibitor chip was fucked. Anyway, and all the other team of the Bad Batch it does work on them, but it's not effective. I think the only time it did work was on Wrecker in season 1.
Yeah, and that very scary
Wrecker
episode.
was the only one it affected because it went on and off with him. So there's that. And yeah, this episode was really good. I think part 1 and part 2 were really well made. And it just shows how the clones are disobeying the Empire, but it also shows how the Empire are going to fade them out. Maybe them becoming obsolete was more about them betraying them than just becoming obsolete.
And we will talk about that later. After episode 3's
Episode
discussion.
3.
Episode 2 out of 10.
Out of 10, I'm gonna give it a 9.
9.
Actually, no.
I was actually thinking more of a 6.
No, actually.
I don't think it was as good as the first episode.
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Oh.
Now I'm thinking back, there is some moments, yeah. But I think it definitely...
This episode felt unnecessarily slow.
Now I'm looking back, it definitely did. It didn't feel like a part 2.
It didn't feel... I feel like if episode 1 and 2 were like at the same episode, so it was a longer episode 1, it would have been better. But because they decided to split it into 2, it felt disconnected.
Like, that's
even
the thing.
Though it happens directly after.
There's a like, now and then there are like good and bad to doing part 2s to stories. Some part 2s and part 1s, or how many parts the story has, do fit together. They do have the same, thing going on. But like, some of them, they feel disconnected from each other. So like, when shows have part 1, part 2, part 3, what have you, it does seem a bit off and forced or whatever.
But we will now discuss episode 3, The Solitary Clone, which, in my opinion, is my favourite episode so far. Technically they do, but it's only a single member who's no longer a member. So this episode focuses on Crosshair, and his new life in the Empire, which looks depressing as anything. He's got like a really small prison-sized room. He can't get a meal down him because he keeps getting called to an admiral's office.
And he's being told that he's no longer going to be leading groups. He's now under the command of other people.
Which in this episode turns out to be the one, the only betrayer of Obi-Wan,
Commander Cody,
Commander
who is no
Cody.
longer wearing orange.
He's not. He's now got a very nice looking, I think, white and grey.
Yeah, like
outfit.
the clone that guy kills in episode 2. But Cody, what distinguishes Cody is he's got like a moon scar on his head. I think it looks like a moon.
So this episode takes place on a former separatist planet, which the Empire are trying to take control over. Yep. Inhabitants aren't really vibing with that, so they set the battle droids on them. Crosshair and Cody are resolved to, quote-unquote, diplomatically resolve the issue. They get shot out the sky because the people on the planet are like, nah fam, we see what you're trying to do, get wrecked. Plane goes down, half the squad fucking dies, and half the squad are injured, so it turns out that it's now just 8 people versus an army.
And like Will said, oh, Crosshair and Cody lived because of plot armor.
Plot armor. And then half the other people also survive, but they're incredibly injured. Crosshair makes a 6 shot on a tank where he shoots through the barrel and blows it up. They get into the city, droidekas attack, a poor guy just absolutely gets annihilated in like the first 2 seconds. They push in towards where the command droid is. Crosshair starts hitting shots like he's a Call of Duty player in 2010, throwing little magnet things at walls and shooting mirrors. And he gets attacked by a commando droid, can't make the last shot, so Cody has to throw one of the discs into the air. And the sickest shot in Star Wars history is hit.
Yeah.
Because my man ricocheted his bullet off of 3 panels, 4 droids, and through the eye of the commander droid. Just all around a sick shot. We get a nice scene between Cody and the leader of the Separatists, where he says he wants a peaceful solution because he's sick of fighting. The governor, who the Empire sent, is a dick and basically orders the woman's execution. Cody basically flat out refuses to do it, and Crosshair just assassinates her.
And it's like, boom.
Cody starts questioning everything, and he has a nice little bit of introspection of if the Empire is actually making the galaxy a better place. It seems to be another thing
as well, where when he talks to Crosshair about it, and Crosshair seems to like kind of a little bit understand where he's coming from.
And then, obviously, he gets called to the Admiral's office again, gets assigned a new commander, inquires about Cody, and it turns out Cody's gone AWOL.
Cody's gone and he is left. So, I really want to hit him to meet Obi-Wan at some point.
He's either left or he's been taken into custody by the Empire. AWOL can mean 2 different things if you work for the Empire.
He could have left, or he could have been taken into custody while he tried to leave.
This episode was by far the best.
So, what is the rating for this episode?
Easily like an 8.5.
I'm gonna give this one a 9. For now.
Like, there are some issues.
There are some, yeah.
There are some issues with the plane getting shot down for one. I feel like the guy didn't even try to dodge half of the shit that was being fired at him. The commander was just flat out annoying.
Yeah,
the governor.
He was fucking annoying.
He was just a dick.
There were also
but all in all, I think
there was
some
also
of my
the
favorite...
mention of the assassination.
There was also the mention of Mina Bonteri, who was killed because she wanted to bring a peaceful end to the Clone Wars. And obviously Dooku wasn't going to let that happen.
Yep.
But yeah, this is what a good episode of Star Wars does look like. It obviously doesn't have the level of acting or story that Andor has, because Andor was a long episode and had an actual 3-step process in their art. But on a solo episode thing, which is what these Clone Wars animations tend to be, it's obvious it's one of the best.
So as a whole so far, get into that a bit. As a whole, so far for the show, I'm liking what they're doing. I do hope that it's not going to be a villain of the week thing much.
I do hope it's not season 1.
I feel like that they should get back into, obviously. I want some cameos. I know there is going to be Rex, see we're in the trailer. I want Cody to meet up with the team.
There's going to be Gungi, the Wookiee Jedi.
The Wookiee Jedi. So we are going to see a Jedi. We're going to see the little Wookiee.
So Star Wars Theory will be happy.
You had to.
I'm throwing mad shit.
You mentioned that, didn't you?
Listen, man, I don't think that mirrors exist in Star Wars, so I don't know how. He made that shot, but I'm pretty sure that that orders don't exist in Star Wars, so I don't know how Order 66 happened.
Okay. So yeah, I think this so far this is actually really good. I can't wait to see what happens. So yeah, far as you guys know, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing this with multiple shows because me and Will like to watch shows together. Yeah,
Last of Us,
yeah, we watch all of those
Mandalorian,
together.
Flash this season
when
probably
when it
for the
comes
last
out
one.
in the UK. But yeah, so or we might VPN it.
But you didn't hear that from us.
But yeah, so the way that we are going to do this is we review. So from now on, after this, it'll be one episode review. So obviously we'll do it like what Will just did, where he tells you what happened in the episode, and then we'll do a review and what have you.
It's a quick mini overlook. It's not word for word what happened, but it's sort of the big plot points that I remember.
So we'll be doing that. So we watch the episode, record it, and then it goes up the week of the episode, the week of the next episode. So since we
so it won't be as long as
upload on Wednesdays anyway for this channel, and these episodes go up on Wednesdays, the episode will go up on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. UK time, and then obviously we'll have podcast. We've got our podcast coming back, so that'll be Thursdays. Anyway, so that's how that's gonna work.
And then any other videos.
Yeah. So, but we're also going to be reviewing The Last of Us,
which I'm very excited
and Mando when that starts. So you'll have us reviewing.
Very excited.
You'll have us reviewing Bad Batch and Last of Us.
Basically, you get a lot of videos. Because I'm pretty sure the Last of Us video will have to go up on a Wednesday. Because it will come out on like a Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, so we'll figure it out. Anyway, so we'll figure it out. We'll just see what happens. And maybe we'll do 2 videos that day to get you guys our thoughts on both of them. But yeah.
Remember, if you liked this video and you want to see more like it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more like this. And if you're feeling extra spicy, go and check out the channels that are linked in the description, which will be Jordan's channel. Shameless. Absolutely shameless. Right? Jordan talks horror over there, so if you're into horror, you know, go and check it out. It's pretty good. It's pretty spicy.
If you're into funny videos of gaming clips or whatever, go check out Will's channel, Astral,
which has not had an upload for 4 months. I'm going to get back to it, I promise.
So what we are actually going to do on this channel, and Will actually upload it on his own channel, is we're going to play Inside the Backrooms.
Not looking forward to it.
It's a horror game, and we are going to be playing probably a few episodes of that. So we'll get Tyler on if he joins as well. And we're buying it because it's really cheap. So yeah, we'll be doing that at some point, and that'll be up one of the days. So yeah, hope you guys.
So if you want to see me scream because I saw something, but I didn't see something, check it out.
I think, guys, I might reshuffle the upload schedule a little on this channel. And I might add Saturday to the channel. If that sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, because most stuff, we either get stuff on Wednesdays, Thursdays, or Sundays.
So I might add Saturday to the video schedule. So we'll have me and Will's. So I might, if we end up doing the back room. So say we're doing the back room, then we'll have 2 videos on Wednesday, and then we'll have the back room on Saturday and do it that way. I'll add a day, because then on Slasher Media I've got 3 videos a week, and then on here we've got 3 videos a week, so it works out. So we'll do that.
And obviously, whenever me and Tyler actually make
and
a
then
video,
obviously at the minute it's just me. Like, well, not just me.
we'll just
not
throw
just
it up
me,
there.
but obviously at the minute I'm the person making the most videos because I've got most time, I think. I've got more experience at doing this. So Will actually does his own videos, like he edits them and films them and that. So I'm fine with leaving him on that, but he's fine with that. But I help Tyler with his because he's not used to this doing his own videos, so that's why I help him with that. But yeah, I need to get him to let me know what he wants to do for his next one, and then we'll get it done. But yeah, so you want to outro us?
Yeah, so this has been Trio Planet with me as Terrell and my friend.
Sasha.
I'm going to say Steve, fucking name. We do hope you enjoyed the review. We will see you next week for another on episode 4.
That'll be up the week after.
And shut up, John. It'll be next week for them.
Yeah, for them. Yeah,
so we will see you next week for episode 4. So Jordan can shut the fuck up.
And you also
I know what I'm doing.
As well.
And you will also see Last of Us. So if you're interested in that, it's obviously not the game, it's the show.
What I'll do is I'll upload, probably upload Bad Batch early. So maybe about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock our time. And then Last of Us probably be later on. So at 6:30 or something. And that's how we'll do it.
So remember that these episodes won't be as long as this one, because this one's sort of a proof of concept.
We came up with this idea while watching the first 2 episodes of Bad Batch. We weren't planning to do Bad Batch. We were planning to do Mandalorian and Last of Us, and then I think when we were watching something, or it was, I think it was, yeah, I can't remember. I think it was at some point, but we did decide to do Bad Batch. So yeah.
So we will see you next week. Until then, this has been Trio Planet, and we will see you next time.
We forget 1,000 things every day, pal. Make sure this is one of them. It's over, Anakin!